Something really powerful is happening across India. A whole new wave of entrepreneurship is taking hold, and it's being led by this incredible group of women. And, they're not just building companies, they're literally building a new future.
It's a huge question, right? We're kind of taught to think that business is all about one thing, making money. And we think of social change, well, that's the job of charities and nonprofits. But what if that's a false choice?
Well, in India, a new generation of women leaders is proving that it absolutely is a false choice. They are building this amazing bridge between having a purpose and making a profit. And in doing that, they're completely changing the game for both business and social change.
So, what does this new kind of business actually look like? This isn't just about a company donating some money to a good cause. No, this is about weaving the mission right into the DNA of the business itself, from day one.
And that brings us to this core idea, social entrepreneurship. See, the goal isn't just to build a successful company. It's to build a lasting solution to a real social problem, and to make sure that solution can pay for itself and keep on growing.
Let's break it down like this. A traditional business asks, how much money did we make? But a social enterprise asks a totally different question. How much positive, lasting change did we create? Now, of course, revenue is still super important, but it becomes the fuel for the mission, not the final destination.
For so many of these incredible leaders, the whole journey didn't start in some boardroom with a bunch of market research. Nope, it started with a personal moment, a moment when a huge abstract social problem suddenly became very, very real and just impossible to ignore.
Take Sumita Ghose. She saw these amazingly skilled rural artisans who were basically being exploited by middlemen, earning just a tiny fraction of what their beautiful crafts were worth. Her idea wasn't just to find them a better market, it was to flip the script completely by making them owners.
Then you have Aditi Gupta, who decided to take on a massive cultural taboo. The silence around menstruation wasn't just some awkward topic. It was causing real harm, misinformation, health issues, and girls being excluded. Her why was all about replacing that shame with solid knowledge and dignity.
And for Naya Sagi, the spark was right there in her own circle. She watched her friends, who were new parents, just drowning in the sea of confusing and frankly often unreliable advice online. She saw this urgent need for one trusted community to help them through one of the biggest changes in their lives.
Okay, so having a powerful vision is one thing, but turning that vision into real-world, tangible impact, well, that's the real test. So let's dig in and see how these personal missions have actually created measurable change.
Just think about Sumita Ghose's company, Rang Sutra. How many lives has it really touched? We're talking about a network that now directly empowers 3,000 artisans, and most of them are women in really remote villages. This isn't a small side project. This is a huge systemic solution.
So how does it work? Well, the model is honestly transformative. By cutting out those middlemen and connecting artisans directly with huge global brands like IKEA, Rangsutra, make sure they get fair, regular pay. But here's the most powerful part. They give the artisans shares. They aren't just workers anymore. They are co-owners of the entire company.
And this one detail, it just says everything. For this artisan, Danny Bai, that share certificate wasn't just a piece of paper about money. It was a symbol of her dignity, of respect, and of having ownership over her own future. I mean, that's the kind of impact that you'll never find on a balance sheet.
And you see that same kind of creative thinking with Menstrupedia. Aditi Gupta knew that if you're going to break a taboo, you have to make the conversation easy and engaging. So what did she do? She created a simple comic book. It's now used in thousands of schools, and it gives young girls the words and the confidence to understand their own bodies. It turns a source of shame into a healthy conversation.
And then there's Anu Sridharan's Next Drop, which shows how you can use really simple tech to have a massive impact. In many urban areas, the water supply is totally unreliable, forcing families, usually women and girls, to waste hours just waiting by a public tap. A simple SMS alert telling them when the water will arrive changes everything. It means a girl can stay in school. It means a mother can go to work. It's such an elegant solution that gives people back their time.
Okay, so when you step back and look at all these incredible stories, a really clear pattern starts to emerge. There's this shared DNA, a set of principles that kind of ties all of these different ventures together. You can boil it down to three key things. First, it always starts with that deep, personal why. Second, they use innovation not just for the sake of cool tech, but specifically to include and empower people who've been left behind. And third, and this is so important, they're building self-sustaining movements, not just charities that have to rely on the next donation to survive.
And that's really the big takeaway here. They are proving at scale that a business can be a powerful engine for social good. The money they make fuels their mission, which lets them grow their impact way beyond what a traditional nonprofit could ever hope to achieve.
Now, of course, none of this happens in a vacuum. These entrepreneurs are out there operating in a really complex world, one that's filled with some pretty big challenges, but also, thankfully, growing sources of support.
It's a real balancing act for them. I mean, on one hand, in a fast-growing economy like India's, getting funding can be tough, because traditional investors usually want those quick, massive profits. But on the other hand, you're seeing this new class of impact investors emerge who want both a financial and a social return. And it's the same with regulations. There are hurdles, for sure, but then you have government programs like Startup India stepping in to help.
All right, so where does all this lead? What's the real long-term legacy of these changemakers? Because it's about so much more than just their individual companies. It's about the kind of future they're building for a whole nation. By getting to the root of these huge issues in education, in healthcare, and employment, they're actually weaving a stronger, more inclusive social fabric for everyone. Their work is just living proof that you can build a thriving economy that lifts everybody up.
And this connects directly to India's biggest goals. I mean, a truly developed economy isn't just about the GDP numbers, it's about the well-being of its people. The solutions these women are creating aren't just nice-to-haves. They are absolutely essential for building that prosperous and just future.
And that kind of brings us to a final thought to leave you with. Every one of these stories started with just one person seeing one problem and refusing to accept it. So it makes you wonder, right? What gap, what injustice, what unmet need do you see around you? Because that might just be the spark for the next great change.